T2. Oh yeah, we back here on the Twisted T2, where we come to bring you, well, reading them Reddits. And today, a young lady, needs advice. She says that her boyfriend will break up with her if she performs this one act on anyone. That's right, anyone. Let's dive into this. It should be good. My boyfriend and I, have been together for almost 2 years. We live together. And we've always said that we've planned to marry each other. Now there it goes. He consistently tells me that we're soulmates. This is good. 2 weeks ago, he really messes up, and we ended up breaking up. Oh wow, that was fast. But after, he begged me, crying, telling me I'm his soulmate and he'd rather die than be without someone else. Etc., etc., etc. So I, agreed to think about it. That's right. And he was kind of on a relationship probation period of some kind, but then in a couple days later, he said this. By this I mean, he said he would break up with me if I gave someone CPR, specifically mouth to mouth, even if I saved their life and no one else around, no one else was around to help them, even his dad. He said I would never be in a situation, an old woman, whatever. He said this was just one of his boundaries and that he could do it because he plans on being a doctor one day. But I can't because it doesn't require any type of task in my profession. This sounds like a crazy double standard to me. He said if I wanted to be with him, I can't give anyone CPR. I mean, I just want to know, how many times in your life do you really think you're going to have to give out CPR? I should let them die, call, and wait for an ambulance. He kept on saying, oh, so what? Is this a deal breaker for you then? I think it's absurd because it's one thing being uncomfortable. It's another thing to break up with me and lose me over saving someone else's life. Especially, we weren't even fully together yet. He was supposed to be convincing me that he became a better partner or whatever. This is like a drop in the ocean of what he does. During this period, on Valentine's Day, he didn't do anything to acknowledge me or show appreciation for me. Mind you guys, on the street, actual strangers were wishing me happy Valentine's Day and instead he had the audacity to ask me to be intimate. What? Can you believe that? One last time. So wait a minute. He figured y'all weren't going to get back together again and that he wanted to bust it down one last time. That's kind of funny because he misses me and loves me so much. No card, no flowers, no sex. He knows I adore flowers. And I'm so appreciative of him. See, might even got a blowjob. No gifts, no recognition, nothing. After almost 2 years, especially after this rough patch, you think He'd go the extra mile to win me over. Am I crazy? Like, he'll be a crappy boyfriend and then be like, you're mine, and can't give no one CPR. Who breaks up with their soulmate over saving someone's life? I feel like I'm going insane because I low key feel gaslighted. Like he's trying to make me feel like all of this is normal. This is the tip of the iceberg. Laugh out loud. Also, I swear to God, on my mom's life, that I'm telling the whole truth in this story. Some people just don't believe me. Also, the worst part is that we signed a lease in our apartment for 2 years. We have a year and a half left. If y'all have any advice on what to do, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. They put in some context. The both of them are in a university and they're not in high school. Ha ha. Okay. So, advice needed. Let's see. Give y'all a rundown. This lady's boyfriend just straight up told her that she can't give out CPR to anybody. It doesn't matter if they dying in front of her, that she'll never even be in that situation. And you know, sitting here thinking about it, I mean, one of my first questions inside of this was, will you ever be in that situation? How often do you run across somebody going, yeah, you need CPR, you need CPR, you need CPR, I got CPR, right? I mean, I don't think that there's many times in your life you're going to have to give out CPR. I honestly can't think of a time so far that I've had to give it out. Yeah, no. And like, I've worked in all types of fields. Yeah, I've worked with kids in fields. I've worked in adult field. Like, I've worked all over the place. And like, I don't think I've ever had to personally give out CPR. Now, let's see. Have I seen someone get CPR? Yes. Yes. And I let the professional people around me do their job because they're like, well, I know what I'm doing. And I'm like, cool, that makes sense. Right? Now, I've had to stop people in choking hazards, but that was more of like that upthrust thing. But it wasn't necessarily CPR. And well, yeah, that was scary that day, by the way. That person, that was scary. And one of those swooper dupes, you know, one of them swoops where you just swoop food out with the little mouths. But CPR? No, I can't say. Now, I will say that I really don't think it should be a deal breaker. And if it seems to be a deal breaker and it seems that you all are already going through this and it seems like he don't really appreciate you. Now, as you said, you all were broken up. But, I mean, it seems like no cards, no flowers, no nothing. I'm not saying that, these days, that superficial days made up are super important. But, I mean, if it was 2 years of that, then he's showing you that he don't support that day specifically. I mean, you didn't say nothing about none of the other holidays. Or this might have just been going around right around that time where you all happened to be in a charade of shit. And while you was in that, he probably just said, you know what, fuck it. I ain't buying her shit this year since she want to act like that. And it happens. And he just lived that out. So again, you got to figure out if you want to live with that or you don't want to live with that for the rest of your life. I mean, if I was in your shoes, it doesn't seem like there's crying, telling me. I mean, he definitely ain't your soulmate. We're going to tell you that right now. Okay? Imagine being so insecure that you want your sole significant other to commit murder by inaction. Not the asshole. So, he wants to be a doctor, but he views giving mouth to mouth as sexual. Enough to make you give mouth to mouth, enough to make you give mouth to anyone, even a family member, is a deal breaker. Not the asshole. Run far and run fast. This man is unhinged. He literally told you he'd expect you to let someone else die inside, I'm pretty sure they mean instead, of trying to save their life. This is disgusting. And this is not someone you want as a partner. Also, it isn't also, He said, even for family members. Does that mean if you had, I was thinking of that when I was reading this. I was hoping it didn't mean it, but now that you said it, does it mean that if you have children that one of them needed CPR, he'd expect you to let them die instead of saving them? This man is majorly disturbed and probably has no place in medicine. You know, okay, Ace Girl, 1985. I will say this, all right? You make a valid point. Now, the point that I really like inside of what you had to say was the beginning of this, because I didn't think about it like he wanted to be a doctor, but he deemed it kind of as a sexual thing as far as giving mouth to mouth. That is an excellent point. I didn't look at it like that. Because if he's telling her not to, then yeah, that probably is how he sees it. And you know, you're probably onto something when you say he shouldn't be in medicine. Yeah, we might want to fix that early. Might have got us a psycho. Plans to be a doctor? Is he in med school? Question mark. On the track to graduate with a BS? That will get him into med school in a residency program. Frankly, this guy sounds crazy, unstable, and delusional. Run. Talk to your landlord and see if there's any way out of the lease. As a matter of fact, I did find out that for people in abuse situations, they do have ways out of these leases. We were just reading that in an article earlier today or yesterday. So, yeah, there can be a way out the lease in these situations that don't require funds for breaking it. You just need to find the way and be creative. Let's see. You said he'll be a crappy boyfriend, then be like, your mind can't do CPR on anyone. I'm pretty sure that sentence says it all. He's a crappy boyfriend and he's so insecure that he wouldn't even allow you to do CPR on someone's life. The bombastic side eye. I am giving you right now for so many different reasons. Now, girl, talk to your landlord and see if you can either get out of that lease or substitute another person in there. Someone get out of there and get a roommate. This man is showing you who he is, and it's an insecure, controlling dude. Oh, yeah. Well, there you have it. That's what the people have to say. Oh, wow. Hold on. One more person got to say. Let's see. They a top commenter, so I feel like we got to at least acknowledge them. Plus, they had a lot to say. It says, girl, you had the right idea when you broke it off the first time. He sounds like a grumpy boyfriend, and that's without the details of what you did nearly ended up with the relationship. That's nearly without details of what he did that nearly ended the relationship a few weeks ago. Yeah, you make a good point. Time to stick a fork in it. This relationship is done. It is done. The lease is going to be an annoying, complication, not gonna lie. And first, read the lease and see what happens if you break it. Maybe you pay a fine and it's done. You know, like we said, abuse victims get a way out of it. Be creative. Also, real talk. Sobbing and the especially "I'll die without you" stuff is concerning. Your first priority is your personal safety. That's anybody. Even if it feels like overkill, please call the local domestic hotline and get some advice on how to handle the breakup and move on. It's honestly probably fine, but better safe than sorry. Not to mention, if you do call the hotline, again, abuse victims can kind of break that lease. So that might lay a trail to help you break the lease. And with that being said, we hope that you, unnamed person inside of this, still inside of a university dealing with this crazy boyfriend and needed advice 15 days ago, we hope that you do what's right in this situation as far as just get out early, considering how you got a long life ahead of you and this is not your soulmate. Okay, this is what we like to call a life learned lesson. Because that's exactly what this is. You'll see these flags and red signs in other people and be able to figure out if you even want to pursue them or not. All right. So for those of you who checked it out, thank you for tuning into the Twisted Tea 2, where we come here to bring you these Reddit reads, give out advice, tell jokes, and have some fun. With that being said, keep your head on a swivel because not everybody got your best interests out there. All right? Enjoy the day. Enjoy the night. Peace out.